You seem uncomfortable. Do I make you nervous, Corky?
No.
Thirsty, maybe.
Curious, maybe.
That's funny. I'm feeling a little bit curious myself.
The impulse had become irresistible. There was only one answer to the fury that tortured him. And so he committed his first act of murder. He'd broken the most deep-rooted taboo and found not guilt, not anxiety or fear, but freedom. Every humiliation that stood in his way could be swept aside by this simple act of annihilation. Podcasting. Welcome to Pleasers
and Punishers,
where we talk about movies that people love to watch,
movies that ruin your today, tomorrow, and yesterday,
and all things kinky and queer.
I'm Caitlin of the North.
And I'm May. You're not gay, are you? Schultz.
And today we're kicking off Giallo January, discussing what do we do when your words say hooker, but your mouth says whore, with Dario Argento's Tenebre from 1982. Starring Anthony Franciosa, Dario Nicolodi, John, I don't know if I'm going to get this, Saxon? Is that how
John
you
Saxon.
pronounce that? And Veronica Lario.
Do you want to do John Saxon
No,
again?
that was a joke.
Okay.
Because I ran through all of the Italian names.
I understand jokes.
And I'm usually
I just have autism.
And I usually am very bad at pronouncing things.
Yes, no, you did those beautifully. Sorry, I did not understand the joke.
I should have done John Saxon last.
Mm.
And, as this is an Argento movie, the score, not technically by Goblin, but multiple members of Goblin. Of course.
I mean, the score is in the Goblin Horror Scores box set that I got, so I'm going to say it's Goblin.
They kept being like, it's most of the members.
Yeah, it's only mostly Goblin.
You know, it's just mostly. Just.
Okay, before we get into it, tell me, Caitlin, do you read murder mystery novels?
I love that you brought this up because I've been thinking about this a lot recently.
Mm-hmm.
Because of Welcome to Derry. And I feel like maybe I said something around this, but my introduction to horror was more through books than movies or TV shows, because my mom was extremely adverse to basically us watching violence, period.
Right.
But we could, I read Goosebumps, I read Fear Street. However, I really, really love murder mysteries. I love a mystery. I don't know if that started with Nancy Drew, which I've also talked about already. Or Scooby-Doo, or even Tinted. I watched a lot of mystery cartoons, mystery shows. My dad's really into detective. No, funny story.
Oh.
What I don't like is feeling like I've been tricked.
Oh,
And the first Agatha Christie I read was Murder on the Orient Express.
I know that's one of her most popular, and I know it's a lot of people's introduction to Poirot, but it's definitely not my favorite.
I was like, fuck this ending. I am mad at it, and I'm never reading you ever again. So that was my one Agatha Christie.
I've never really read any of her books. I just love watching the David Suchet
I was going to say
Poirot show.
Mm-hmm. We did watch
Kenneth
that.
Branagh is not Poirot. Fuck that shit. Sorry to anyone who likes those, but Poirot is not supposed to be a douchebag. He's supposed to be a little bit hoity-toity. And Kenneth Branagh plays him as a complete asshole. And I hate it. That is not the character.
We did watch that, I will say. Yes. I mean, his favorite movies are the Thin Man movies. Sherlock Holmes was very big. So,
yeah.
Yes. Do I read a murder mystery? Not as much anymore. I'm very busy. I will listen to a murder mystery, though. But that was pretty much almost the only kind of book I was reading after a while, because I couldn't read horror because it was too scary.
Right. I never really read a lot of murder mystery. I've read a handful. I think, like a lot of things, it has to have a bit of a genre twist for me to get into it. So I may have mentioned this before, but Stuart Turton's book, The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, it's one of my favorite books of all time. It is a murder mystery, but it's also got kind of a supernatural or sci-fi twist. I'm not going to say which one. It's weird. It's very strange, and it is so delightful the whole time you're reading it. I definitely read some young adult, young kid mystery books when I was younger, like Something Queer is Happening Here, and various books like that. I read a lot of... Oh, I love Bunnicula.
Right.
I also read a lot of like Eve Bunting and stuff like that. So I was into that kind of mystery genre when I was a kid, and then I kind of outgrew it as I got more into sci-fi novels, and then these days I mostly read like, I guess, low fantasy and horror. So it's not on the top of my list for reading material. However, when they're done well, they're great. And a lot of the books in the straight up mystery category have some of the funniest titles. There's this like guest house that I've stayed at a few times up in Michigan that was a client of my dad's who has a house in Michigan, and this is the guest house next door, and they have a bunch of books and stuff there, and the funniest book title I've ever read, Fax Me a Bagel. This is a real book. Fax Me a Bagel.
Is the mystery how to do that?
I don't know. I have not read it. But speaking of things that we're not sure about, let's get into some role play.
Is that your bathing suit? Is that your overbite?
Now, one of you will be the drowning victim, and the other one gets to be our lifesaver.
I'll be the victim all your life.
Okay. Caitlin, are you ready to hear the story of Tenebre?
Yes, I am.
Counter to a couple recent synopses, I actually did write this one myself, and it is long because a lot happens in this movie, and it's all important. So please bear with me.
This is one of the ones like Brian, I was like, Brian, stop looking at your phone. You have to pay attention to this because it's important.
Did Brian enjoy it?
I think so.
Okay. We'll talk more about that. So, writer Peter Neal is on his way to Italy from the U.S. and receives a phone call at the airport from his estranged fiancée, Jane. Meanwhile, in Rome, inveterate shoplifter Elsa is stalked through a drugstore from which she steals a copy of Peter's newest novel, Tenebre, which, by the way, is Latin and I think Italian for darkness. It's definitely Latin. She is caught by the manager and offers to fuck him to make up for it. Good for her.
Oh, absolutely. I love how just in control of her sexuality she is. Especially because of this next part.
On her way home, she is accosted by an unhoused man, then murdered by a black-gloved, razor-wielding killer who stuffs pages of the book into her mouth before slashing her up. The killer then visits Peter's hotel, or apartment, it's never made explicitly clear, and delivers an envelope under the door.
So, stuffing the pages of a book into somebody's mouth to kill them. Have we just seen this recently?
I believe we did in The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover. It's done a little differently there. But yeah, I love that like little connection. It's pretty great. Peter's agent Bulmer, played by the marvelous John Saxon, and his adorable hat that doesn't fall off of his head.
Icon. Just icon John Saxon, American King of Giallos. Like,
Well, and he's just been in so many things, and I'm always happy to see him. He's one of the best characters in Black Christmas, who's not one of the girls.
Mm-hmm.
I love John Saxon. He meets Peter at the airport for a brief press conference where Tilda, a former student of Peter's, deftly tears down his writing as misogynistic and trashy. Cristiano Berti, host of a book review program on Channel 1 TV, watches from the corner.
Not weird.
No, not weird at all. Bulmer's assistant, Gianni, who looks like the love child of Mark Hamill and Cillian Murphy.
Oh my God, nailed it.
Thank you. And Peter's assistant, Anne, played by the ever-radiant Daria Nicolodi, arrived to pick them up, and Peter discovers that the contents of his carry-on luggage were destroyed. I didn't mention this earlier, but when he gets that phone call from Jane, he just leaves his bag in the middle of a bunch of people, and this woman wearing a, babushka scarf on her head takes it and puts it back in a different place. And he's just like, okay, whatever. And then when he's on the plane, he has the bag sticking out into the aisle. What the fuck, Peter?
This is not a see something, say something society.
No. Upon entering Peter's hotel room, they are greeted by Captain Germani and Inspector Altieri, who question him about the death of Elsa and give him the envelope, which contains a passage from his book written in newspaper clippings. Just then, the phone rings. The killer is calling from a phone booth across the street. The cops run out to try to find them, but Peter mistakenly mentions Elsa, and the killer gets away. An Argento special close-up shows us 2 pills that look like Mentos and a glass of water before dissolving to a scene where several hunks at the beach are about to get it on with a woman in red heels, played by trans actress Eva Robbins. Another boy approaches and slaps her in the face, then attempts to flee. What the fuck? The hunks chase him down, and as they hold him, she repeatedly kicks him before jamming her heel into his mouth.
Good
and at this
her.
point, I was watching this with Erica a few days ago, and it was her first time, and I've been so excited to show her this movie. And she was like, yes, bitch, get it, during this part. It was wonderful.
I know. Just slaps her. That's what you get.
Yeah, like, what the fuck, dude?
Sounds like a personal problem to me, is what I'm saying.
Sounds like a skills issue, buddy. Back in the present, Tilda and her girlfriend Marion, who have some kind of non-monogamous relationship, are at a bar, and Marion goes home with a big old buff boy. When Tilda arrives home, she and Marion get in a fight, so clearly they have some work to do on their relationship structure.
And this is when the line reading goes terribly wrong.
Wait, which one? Which one are you referring to?
Well, this one, this is the one where I said earlier, when Tilda calls Marion, she's like, you hooker, but her mouth so clearly says whore. And I was like, what an interesting choice. I'm sure it had to do with censorship in some way, shape, or form, but...
Yeah, maybe.
Choices.
Also, Marion, during this whole sequence, is basically just slightly wrapped in a bed sheet.
Wet.
Wet from a shower. This woman is so fucking hot. She's thick. She's got incredible boobs. She's got a great butt. And, like, you don't usually see this level of thickness on a naked actor in a movie, especially this is early 80s. So I don't know. I love it. So hot.
So this moment also, I was like, Brian, no, you missed it. We have to go back. Because I obviously love that, how mismatched that reading is right there. And as it's coming up, I go, don't pay attention to the boob. Pay attention to Tildy's mouth. And he's like, really? I'm going to pay attention to the boob. I was like, I know.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful boob.
It's true. Set to Goblin's theme song for the film, an incredible crane shot that lasts like 3 full minutes, floats us around the outside of their strange house, ending with someone using bolt cutters to remove some wooden shutters and gain entry. "Filthy, slimy pervert," whispers a voice before the killer dispatches Tilda, then Marion, with the razor. We also get our director trademark of Tilda breaking through a window.
It's so beautifully done. Oh, yes, that one. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dario Defenestration Argento, I believe is his full name. Hotel manager Alboreto sends his daughter Maria up to turn on Peter's hot water, and the killer delivers another letter. Sic transit gloria lesbi, or so passes the glory of Lesbos. What could that mean? Peter then chats with Bertie before their actual on-camera interview, discussing aberrant. They pronounce it aberrant.
Aberrant?
Yeah.
Aberrant?
Well, so there's two different words. There's aberrant, whatever, and abhorrent.
Yes, and I'm thinking abhorrent.
And they mean similar things, but I always get a little mixed up with this. So they're discussing that kind of behavior, the elimination of corruption, and whether Peter's beliefs align with the killer in his book. Then we get a look at the killer's lair, a concrete basement beneath a palatial modern house, before they head out to pick up their next victim, a sex worker who kind of looks like Marion, who thankfully hops into a car with a client. Maria, who, remember, is the hotel manager's daughter, gets in a fight with her motorcycle boyfriend, then gets chased by the world's angriest dog and ends up in the killer's basement.
This is so terrifying to me.
I know. And, not the world's angriest dog, the David Lynch comic strip, although that dog has some competition in this. Is it a Doberman?
It's a Doberman. It's definitely a Doberman.
When it, checks out the fence and then backs up and then does a running start to get over, I was just like, this dog is a super villain. What the fuck? And why does it hate her so much?
It's a Terminator. It's the shark from Jaws. This dog, dogs don't like me very often. So sometimes I'll just be walking by and a dog will lunge at me and bark. Yeah, no, it is. I will be minding my own damn business. I had a friend go, "Well, you're cat people." And then I laughed because it's like, yes.
Cat people got no reason. Maria stuffs her pockets with clues and makes her way into the house proper, where she is attacked. Although she briefly gets away, the killer catches up to her and does her in with a big axe. Germani reads the latest letter, which basically says the killer is working their way up to killing Peter after eliminating the human perverts. Peter brainstorms with Anne and Gianni and comes up with the idea that Bertie may in fact be the killer.
Dun, dun, dun.
As the killer burns all the evidence and smashes the razor, Gianni and Peter sneak into the backyard. Turns out it is Bertie. He even admits it just before being struck in the head by his own axe, dying almost instantly in front of Gianni, who finds Peter bleeding from a rock to the back of the head elsewhere in the yard. They get away otherwise unscathed, and Peter and Anne finally consummate their years-long will-they-won't-they dynamic. Another flashback shows the high-heeled woman on a date with Michele Soavi, director of Stage Fright and actor in lots of stuff. He's the guy with the metal faceplate in Demons. Oh. He did a lot of assistant directing for both Argento and I can't remember if it's Mario or Lamberto Bava or both of them. I want to say he did stuff with Fulci too. I can't remember, but he's kind of all over the place. And we got to cover Stage Fright sometime because I fucking love that movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in this flashback, the high-heeled woman is on a date with him, and he goes off to get something, and then she is attacked and killed by someone with a knife, who also steals her heels. The next day, Peter tells Bulmer that he's thinking of leaving Rome. Bulmer begs him to stay at a villa in the hills so he's not too far away. Peter leaves, and out from a hidden, door emerges Jane, who has been having an affair with Bulmer.
Da, da, da. Like that moment.
Oh, yeah. The first time I watched this, I was like, what? What?
They have set this up so well to make you think that she's just obsessed with Peter.
Mm-hmm. I think to a certain extent she is. And she's like partly doing this to hurt him. That's how I always interpret it. In the car, Gianni begins to recall details of Bertie's murder and causes a multiple car pileup. So Peter elects to walk the rest of the way to the house where Germani shows Peter a pile of files that Bertie had on him. Jane arrives back at the apartment where she's staying in Rome, also home to the world's deadliest sculpture. We'll come back to that later. To find a box with the red heels that belonged to the young woman from the flashbacks. And of course, they fit her.
Yep, that checks out. Everyone has the same size feet.
I mean, especially when you know that the actress was trans. Us trans girls tend to have pretty big feet. So it's surprising that they fit Jane. Anyway, while Bulmer waits for Jane to meet him for lunch, he is murdered in broad daylight. In the evening, Gianni heads back to Bertie's house to try to remember more details and is garroted in his car. Did this remind you of Annie's death in Halloween? Because it always reminds me of that.
Oh, now that you say that.
With less weird moaning, and thankfully when his head hits the steering wheel, it does not trigger the horn.
Right.
But it's very similar. It feels cool that Argento is like pulling some inspiration from other places. Apparently, his inspiration for the look of the film, which I had always suspected, is from seeing Possession, which makes a lot of sense.
Right.
The killer then retrieves the axe from its hiding place in a hollow tree in Bertie's garden. Meanwhile, Anne gets a call from Jane, who begs for help to not kill herself. And the police find out about her affair with Bulmer from his housekeeper.
His housekeeper that only speaks 2 languages.
Tagalog and Spanish.
Which is like, only Tagalog and Spanish. And I'm like, oh yeah, only.
I do love this little Filipino lady. She's so adorable. The way she is styled is immaculate. I was like, I want to be friends with this lady. She seems like she would have all of the tea.
Oh,
right?
She absolutely does.
She knows everyone's business.
And she is fun.
As Jane waits with a gun in hand, the axe breaks through the window and chops off her arm.
Yes.
And this is one of the most incredible scenes in any giallo. The way her gushing arm stump just paints the wall red is...
like being kissed by a chef.
Yes.
Mwah.
It's a literal chef's kiss.
Mwah.
Ugh. The killer finishes her off in the kitchen, and we once again flash back to the murder of the young woman in heels. After burying the axe into the back of a woman who enters the apartment, it's revealed that the killer is Peter, and he thinks that he has killed Anne, but she enters with Germani. Turns out he actually killed Inspector Altieri. This poor woman who just wants to be a good partner for Germani, who wanted Yves Montagn's autograph, and who, you know, she was just eager. She was eager to solve the case. I get it. After some exposition about him being completely mad, Peter slits his own throat with the razor. Anne and Germani head out to the car where he explains the rest of the tale, that Peter is the one who murdered that girl and then spent time in an institution. Germani goes back inside and discovers that the razor was fake, then gets axed by Peter. Also, that shot where he kneels down to pick up that handkerchief and Peter was just standing right behind him. Ugh.
It is so incredible.
It's so good.
Because you can see Peter's ear, but the way it's framed, it looks like Germani's ear. It is impeccable.
Yep. Anne hears the struggle and attempts to go back inside, knocking over the sculpture, which punctures Peter's abdomen, finally putting an end to his streak of murder.
Multiple murders.
I know, right? So, Caitlin, what's your favorite kill in the movie?
Oh, there's so many good ones.
I know.
I mean, okay, Jane getting her arm cut off. That whole sequence is phenomenal. Though, just almost the lead up to Maria's.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, that whole sequence is takes you on quite the journey.
I'm a big fan of Tilda's death with the like hole sliced in her t-shirt that she's trying to put on, and then you see her face through it. And then the killer stabs her, I'm assuming, like in the solar plexus with the razor, and the blood just sprays up into her face as we're still looking at her through the hole in the t-shirt. It's just, I don't know if there's anything else like that in any other movie. It feels very unique.
And especially at this time.
Mm-hmm. So, tell me about your relationship with Tenebre. When did you first see this?
I'm trying to remember when I first saw this. It's not because it was a really long time ago, because I know it was not.
Mm-hmm.
I just cannot entirely remember when I first watched it because I've seen it so many times since.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like you said, very different and unique, particularly in the genre. I think I was going through a lot of Argento's movies, so this is going to tell me I probably watched it like 2018.
Okay.
Because I saw Deep Red, I was like, oh, okay, I am into this.
I don't know if you remember me talking about it on my previous podcast, but the first time I tried to watch Deep Red, I did not like it, and I gave up. And then we covered it on the podcast, and I watched it, and I did not like it. And then when I finally watched the proper full-length version of the movie, I was like, oh, this is a 5-star movie. It's just the international cut or the American cut, whatever the fuck it's called, is not, it's not good.
It's not good.
It edits out way too much stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, obviously, I love Deep Red. Now, we're going to cover it sometime so I can, like, make up for my opinions of it.
That is so funny. That is so funny because, I loved it, like, immediately.
It's incredible as long as you're watching the correct version of the movie.
Yes. And because I think probably Suspiria was the only other Argento film I had seen up till that point. Maybe Inferno as well. I didn't know. I didn't know about the expertly crafted mysteries that were happening and just went off after that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think this was the next one I saw.
So I believe I had only seen Suspiria when I watched this. And the first time I watched it was May 8th, 2020. So a couple months into the pandemic. I think it was one of those movies that I watched late at night after my ex-wife went to bed. And I immediately loved it so much that apparently 4 days later, I'm pretty sure I rewatched it and made her watch it with me. And when I finished rewatching it today, writing up our synopsis, I believe it was my 8th watch. I love this movie. It is in my top 4 on Letterboxd. I think it is literally the best giallo ever made, and we'll talk about that more in a bit. But yeah, there is really something special about this movie. And let's find out a bit more in our next section, Faith and Chance.
I can't exist by myself because I'm afraid of myself. Because I'm the maker of my own evil. Goodness is only some kind of reflection upon evil. That's all it is.
Caitlin, take me away.
So we've talked a bit about giallo before and a lot of the conventions. Seek out previous episode, 4 Flies on Grey Velvet. And while I was starting research on this movie, it came up that it was part of the video nasties. And I went, you know what? I know about the term. I'm aware of it. Like, I have a vague idea of what this was, but I really actually want to know what was happening and what was going on at this time. So found a documentary. It is on YouTube, The Story of Video Nasties and Banned Horror Movies. So from 1979 to 1984, really 1983, the UK was in a panic. A complete moral panic. In 1979, home video had cropped up and they had zero regulation on home video. None. No laws had been created at that time. So any movie that's shown in a cinema had to go through classification. But if it was just going to be released on home video, it did not. So no classification, no rules, no gods, no masters. Video stores were individually owned, so like anyone could open a store if they just went out and bought some tapes.
Interesting.
VHS was a big part of this because it also made everything look all grimy and like worse than it was. And because there was no regulation that, yeah, there were kids that were watching these movies, sure. But like, okay, that is not where I wanted to go with this. So because there was no regulation, they were getting a lot of movies that you could not see anywhere else. Couldn't see them in the theaters. And it's a lot of schlock. It's a lot of gore. It's a lot of great movies. There's some works of goddamn art in here. A lot of violence. And of course, because like with home video anywhere, I grew up in mostly the 90s. My peers were watching horror movies. Their parents were renting them for them. Or an older sibling was. It's pretty much the exact same thing. These tended to be, you know, just like The Evil Dead.
Got it.
Cannibal Holocaust. That kind of thing.
Right.
Also a lot of Nazi exploitation. There are a few of those. Those on there that's like, that is a choice for a title, let me tell you. Anyway, so we have zero censorship. Of course, there starts to be a moral panic. The Video Retailers Association attempted to self-regulate and were putting out cut versions of these videos.
Ooh.
But they were already out there and people could already get them.
Right.
So it didn't quite do what they wanted it to do. And because of that, of course, there was pushback. We are talking about 1979, particularly 1979, 1980 in the UK, which is pretty conservative. There's a lot of conservative activism by this woman, Mary Whitehouse. It is very reminiscent of Name a Time and a Thing, because it is all, no, I haven't watched these. I don't have to watch these to know that they're trash and that they're corrupting children and so on and so forth. Doesn't sound familiar at all. She had a lot of allies in right-wing media who started this huge panic about children being able to get a hold of and watch these films en masse. And like many moral panics, the video nasties started to, quote, explain every evil in society and a general purpose explanation of moral decline. So the rise in crime, divorce rates, whatever it was, video nasties were being blamed. So the director of public prosecutions start to prosecute movies and video store owners under the Obscene Publications Act of 1959.
Jesus Christ.
Which was for pornography. What was considered obscene publication, quote, tend to deprave and corrupt persons who are likely, having regard to all relevant circumstances, to read, see, or hear the matter contained or embodied in it. So, very specific, good guidelines, not arbitrary at all. And so they started prosecuting films. 39 films were successfully prosecuted. There was like this list that went out that was not supposed to go out. And it had 3 sections. So one was like films that were successfully prosecuted, films that were not successfully prosecuted, or they didn't think they could win the case, and then films that technically weren't banned, but could still be seized, confiscated by the police. So there were 39 films that were successfully prosecuted under the Obscene Publications Act. I believe I got this from Wikipedia. Some of the films have been subsequently cut and then were approved for release by the BBFC. So those were the British Board of Film
Classification.
At first, it was called like the British Board of Film Censors, which is why I stopped for a moment because I was like, wait.
Interesting. I don't think I knew that.
So then the remaining 33 films were either not prosecuted or unsuccessful prosecutions, and then 10 films remain banned in the UK because they have not been resubmitted for classification by any distributors or have been rejected for classification. And this is just for like home video usage. So this is 79 movies in total in that time ended up on this list. Police start to raid video stores. They are seizing anything that looks like violence and be like, well, it could be pornography in there. We don't know. And then they're sitting around just watching these horror movies for hours because the people in charge were convinced that you have to watch every single moment of these movies to know what was in them so they could know which ones to prosecute successfully. One filmmaker, producer, David Hamilton Grant, weird because my dad's name's David, David Hamilton Grant, went to jail for exhibiting a movie that was a longer cut than the one that had been submitted for the British Board of Film Classification.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie Censor, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. We can save that for the what influence did this have on our culture?
Spoiler alert, when we did watch it, for some reason Brian thought it was supposed to be a horror comedy.
Oh, that is such a perfect thing for the expectations versus reality meme.
Yes.
Oh boy. Yeah, that is not a funny movie.
No,
it is a good movie, but it is not funny.
It's not a fun or funny movie.
Oh. Anyway, please continue. Tell me about the Video Recording Act of 1984. So
this all leads to this Video Recording Act of 1984. And under the 1984 Act, this is all quoting, the British Board of Film Censors was renamed the British Board of Film Classification and became responsible for the certification of both cinema and video releases. All video releases after September 1st, 1985 had to comply with the Act and be submitted for classification by the BBFC. Films released on video before that date had to be resubmitted for classification within the following 3 years. The increased possibility of videos falling into the hands of children required that film classification for video be a separate process from cinema classification. Films that had passed uncut for cinema release were often cut for video. What? Just like airplane movies.
Yeah. That's why I don't like watching movies on airplanes. Like, I think part of it is growing up watching like edited versions of things on TV a lot of the time. And, you know, sometimes we had movies that we taped off of TV. So I was so used to watching the edited version. You know, this film has been modified from its original version. It has been edited for content and time and formatted to fit your TV screen. I was very used to seeing that at the beginning of movies starting on like TNT or whatever.
Comedy Central.
Yeah. And so when you see the actual full version of the movie later on, you're like, what the fuck? I was missing so much of this.
Wait, I don't remember this part. Do you remember what do you think is the most egregious one that you saw?
I don't know about most egregious, but I know that the version of the Goonies that I grew up watching had so many like words dubbed over for the like casual swearing that they do. It had some stuff missing, and not just like the extra stuff like the octopus and the like convenience store visits, which are deleted scenes, but like it had other parts of the movie that just weren't there. And so you were missing some context, you were definitely missing some character development, and you were missing some good jokes, to be honest.
Yeah. Yep.
Lots of stuff like that, but the Goonies is the one that sticks out in my mind the most.
I think I saw the edited version after I saw the actual version, but the TV version of Mallrats.
Oh, wow. I can't even imagine.
There's a TV version of Mallrats. They used to show it on Comedy Central.
One of my favorite special features on the Cornetto trilogy Blu-rays is all of the like TV edit things that they had to do. So it's them saying like funk, yeah, or instead of Jesus Christ, they say cheese and mice or peas and rice.
Yeah.
So fucking funny. Sorry, so funking funny.
Jason Mewes' voice is not his voice. He's basically just dubbed over the entire movie.
Yeah, because he swears constantly.
Yes. And then it'll just cut to him being like, yeah, it's incredible. But this is what censorship does to us. Censorship does way worse things to us, but it's a small thing on a very long list. So basically, the supply of unclassified videos became a criminal offense, as did supplying 15 and 18 certificate videos to underage people. So that's a rating classification that we do not have in the United States. I guess if you rented a R-rated movie to a 13-year-old or under 16-year-old. Wait, how old do you have to be to see an R-rated movie? 17? It's something so long.
Yes, I believe no one under 17 will be admitted to an R-rated movie unless accompanied by parent or guardian.
Checks
Unlike
out.
NC-17, which you cannot get into unless you are 18. Oh, I know we've talked about that before, but it still pisses me off.
It's really, really stupid. This is all not arbitrary at all. So, a lot of low-budget horror films that the act was intended to curb. Also, a lot of high-profile films ran afoul of said act. And, like, The Evil Dead, which I referenced, who actually fought back against the prosecution. They were one of the few films that did, and they won.
Huh.
We are not obscene. This is not obscene.
Huh.
So, I didn't know that it only lasted, like, as short as it did. I didn't realize, obviously, the legal pieces of all of this and the laws and everything that fed into this, even though I had seen Censor. And Tenebre was absolutely a video nasty.
Which is so funny because it's like you watch it and you're like, this is pretty tame. Not even by today's standards, but like the standards of the late 80s. It feels tame, in my opinion. If you compare it to the slashers and other stuff we were getting
I'm
by the
you
late
now.
80s, it feels very tame.
Okay, I had two thoughts in that moment, and that was one of them, but I was like, but what if that's not what Magda said? So Tenebre was banned in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And it lasted until 1999.
Huh.
Legally released on videotape with 1 second of footage removed. In addition, there was also 5 seconds censored in the theatrical cut as well.
Huh. Interesting.
Apparently, in Germany, it was also strongly cut and seized by authorities, as I am reading right now in this moment. So,
Oh, wow.
sorry. I'm not making any noises. I'm making a lot of faces of like, who, what, how, why? Ugh. And the thing I think that is so interesting about this particularly is because of how, quote unquote, like kind of autobiographical this film is. Since it was inspired by Argento's own stalker, who had an obsessed fan who would call him to, quote, criticize him for the damaging psychological effects of his previous work. Ended in death threats against Argento. And this movie came about because he just felt like the true horror came from those who wanted to, quote, kill for nothing. And then there are the pieces that are very much metatextual, where he's commenting on critiques of his own work, such as Tilde, just coming out and be like, this is misogynistic tripe. Women as ciphers, killers, whatever else she says in those moments, as a whole list, are 100% critiques that he received.
Which I also think is funny because I have never looked at Argento's work and found it to be misogynistic or reductive toward women characters. And I think especially when he starts working with Daria around Suspiria and Deep Red, it gets even more nuanced. But even before that, the Animal trilogy, all of the female characters are actual characters who are treated, you know, with as much respect as women could get in Italy in the 1970s.
Yes. And you have a variety of women represented as well.
Yeah, and you know, we've talked about this before, but you have queer characters and trans characters. And it's just like, I don't know, I think that the issues that people have with media literacy are magnified by the internet, but I think that they have always been there as kind of a cultural standard. The people are only engaging with things on the most surface level and then critiquing them as if they have done a deep dive on them. And I find that very frustrating.
And this is also a main part of the censorship of horror movies in the UK. You just nailed it, May. Same thing. It all ties into each other.
It's all connected. There is no Carol in HR.
Carol in HR.
Is that the second time we've referenced
Pepe Sylvia? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That should go on our bingo board.
Oh, there's probably always an It's Always Sunny reference just casually thrown in these episodes. Listeners, let me know how many you've got. So, you have Argento commenting on his own work. I love the parts of like, oh, I guess the killer on page 30 is something you can absolutely hear like anyone saying about a horror mystery. Book or movie otherwise. Like, oh, I
figured out who the killer was in the first 5 minutes. And it's like, okay, even if that happens, there's still a lot of other stuff that happens. It doesn't mean it's not good. Because if that were the case, it would mean upon a rewatch or a reread, it would be trash. And that's just not what happens in I would say, 75% of gialli. There are certainly some where you're like, oh, I guessed who the killer was right away, and none of the rest of this was worth it to get to the reveal. That does happen sometimes. I've watched a couple gialli that I did not like, but mostly I love them.
Some are wonderful trash, but some are just trash.
It's true. And
As
some
with
are
anything.
incredible.
Oh, just works of art. Works of art, I say. Just everything Argento is doing in this movie is so layered.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the moment of like, I never guess who the killer is. I guessed who the killer was on page 30. This never happens. Particularly when you're thinking about how easy it was for anyone to think that the guy who is the first killer, Bertie, thank you. I was like, not Berlanti. Bertie does end up being the killer. And even Peter comments on that of like, it didn't take me long to figure that out. And I'm just like, the tangled ass webs you are weaving, Argento, right now. It's just, this is four-dimensional chess you're playing.
Yeah, and I love that we find out Bertie is the killer, and he himself confirms it out loud, and then gets killed. And you're like, well, who the fuck killed him?
Right? Wait, what just happened?
Right. And I believe do I have a question about that? Yes, I have a question about that. So we'll talk more about that in a bit.
Yes, we will. And in the United States, the film remained unseen until 1984. And it was released extremely edited under the title Unsane. 10 minutes. 10
Jesus
minutes
Christ.
cut out. This is a fun little thing that Wikipedia is telling me. Was missing nearly all of the film's violence, which effectively rendered the mini horror sequences incomprehensible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. So, even though it was not seen like in the US until 1984, the UK, 1983, uncut versions of it were out there though. You could get them on VHS. And this film is very influential. The final death scene, speaking of Brana, the final death scene where Neil is accidentally impaled by the sculpture is directly referenced in Brana's 1991 Dead Again. Like, it is apparently shot for shot. Like,
interesting.
So
I love that as soon as you see that sculpture, you're like, oh, that's dangerous. And then when it falls over and part of it flies off and impales Peter, and his hands are so slippery with blood that he cannot pull this piece of metal out of him. It's magnificent.
And who knew? Who knew that was what we were going to get? Brian De Palma. Brian De Palma and this movie. It came up like the crane shot was something that he used. The use of doppelgangers all over this movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, my God, Elsa, Marion, and Jane.
Oh, yeah.
I love how they're all kind of used as red herrings because Elsa and Marion look a lot like Jane, who you think maybe could be the killer.
Right.
And they all look very similar. Dark hair, fully lined eyes.
Well, and then Anne sort of has a resemblance to
Altieri and Marion? I mean, not Marion, excuse me.
I was gonna say Altieri, but also Eva Robin's character, the girl from Rhode Island that he kills. They all have a similar look too. So you have these groupings of women who have similar appearances, and yeah, it's very fascinating.
The use of doppelgangers. Obviously, De Palma has used some in his career, and it's thought to be very heavily influenced by this particular movie here.
Fascinating.
And as you mentioned, we have Censor, which is specifically about the video nasties. I will have, though, a bit more to say about a movie that was influenced a lot by this that I picked up a lot on this time that I have not picked up on before, but a little bit later.
Okay.
How I'm going to finish this might be shocking, is that it has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 83%, IMDb 7 out of 10, and Letterboxd 3.7 out of 10, 3.7 out of 5.
Or a 7.4 out of 10. Which also, that is too low. What the fuck, Letterboxd? What the fuck?
Very surprised to see that. I didn't look into it at the time because I was like, you're dead to me.
Well, speaking of being dead, let's make that money. I don't know why I said that. But now we'll dig into the meat, the goo, and the viscera in a section we call Enough is a Myth.
No. I've done enough.
Enough is a myth.
So, Caitlin, we recently covered The Phantom Thread, a movie about, as my friend Olivia said, a guy who sucks, and whose character I absolutely hated. Now, before we know that Peter's the second killer in this, he has a certain charm about him, despite being kind of an asshole. As I mentioned, he has no sense of his stuff being in other people's way. He was riding his fucking bike to the airport while his driver follows him with his luggage. He's a little bit of a lech occasionally. When Maria comes up to turn on his water, he's like kind of smitten with her, but then says to Anne, "That's jailbait, dear. Jailbait." He's a weird guy. But why do we like him? Why is he still charming in this?
Well, when he isn't miserable, he doesn't come off as a unhappy person for most
No, he's just completely mad.
He's just which we don't even know at this point.
It's true.
And I don't know if he's like been murdering this whole time or if it's been repressed until he saw the opportunity.
My understanding of his character is that he killed this woman back in Rhode Island because she essentially rejected him. We're not
humiliated him in front of a bunch of men.
Right.
Emasculated him, if you will.
Yes. So he murdered her in turn, ended up in a psychiatric institution for a while, and then came out and became a very, very successful writer. Because it seems like he has done very well for himself. And then when he got to Italy and these killings started happening, I think something inside of him just snapped, especially because Berti was so inspired by his work. And I think all of that stuff that he had either worked through or more likely been repressing for 30-something years bubbled back up to the surface. And he also figured out that Bulmer and Jane were having an affair, so he kind of, as Germani says, he used it as an opportunity to murder both of them.
Right.
And kind of pass it off as the work of this killer. So, yeah, I don't know. But there really is something charming about him. And I think it's that we're prone to being on the side of the person who's trying to figure out the mystery. Even if they're an imperfect character, even if we're a little frustrated with them or wish they would behave a little differently, we're still on their side. So the fact that we're spending this whole movie with him as he's trying to solve this mystery, and we have no idea that he has partway through become another killer, I think it really speaks to the strength of the writing and also his performance.
Oh, yeah, the performance is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we obviously give men a bit more leeway a lot of times. I think with Peter, sometimes we don't let them fail upward ever. I think also class-wise, he's more down to earth. He's not coming off like as entitled, as rich.
And he also he lovingly teases people,
yes.
Like when he gives Bulmer a hard time for Gianni essentially being an unpaid intern, that kind of stuff.
Peter, I know a lot of men, older men like Peter. It's a little bit of an asshole, bit of a flirt, just this is very, I don't know, just older men that I was around growing up. So I'm yeah, I get it. I could communicate with you. We could talk sports, Flirt a little, wink a little. I'm getting out. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next question. Argento is widely credited with being a progenitor of the giallo genre. Wow, that was a tongue twister I wrote.
Yeah, you did.
Even if he technically didn't invent it. But with this film, it truly feels like he perfected it. What is it about Tenebre that makes it such a paragon of the genre? And we touched on bits of this earlier, but please feel free to elaborate.
Oh, yes. First of all, you did write that like Darkwing Duck.
Mm-hmm.
The progenitor of giallo genre.
Hey, when there's trouble, you call DW.
Boop, boop.
God, I loved that show.
I say a
so
lot. I'm like, I don't remember that. I need all that space for 1990s cartoon theme songs.
Mm-hmm. Darkwing Duck, Freakazoid, Animaniacs,
Chippendales Rescue Rangers, Tailspin.
OEO, Tailspin. So anyway,
okay.
what makes Tenebre so good?
Because he takes everything he knows and does, and the audience expectations of him, and just keeps flipping it. And doesn't stop. Doesn't really ever give us time to like settle in. The killer, our original killer, is dispatched, but it's like halfway through the movie.
Right. Which is a total subversion of expectations. And I mean, I guess we can just incorporate this question, because my next question is, in typical giallo fashion, the killer is dispatched almost immediately after we discover who they are, but it's only halfway through the film and the bodies continue to pile up. So like, yeah, that totally defies your expectations of your typical giallo plot. And it's like, it's disorienting, because all of a sudden you're like, wait, I have no idea what the fuck is going on, and someone is still killing people. Who the fuck could it possibly be? Because that misdirect that Peter does by hitting himself on the back of the head with a rock after he kills Bertie, that is, I mean, it's like he says to Germani at the end, it was just like writing a book. And like, that feels like something that would happen in a mystery novel as like a misdirect. I know you said earlier you don't like being tricked. Did that feel like you were being tricked, or did that feel like an intelligent twist?
I will say, having us not see Bertie say, I killed them all.
Oh, we do.
We see it
No. We see it and hear it when it happens too. It's just quiet.
Do we see it? I hear it. I just didn't think we saw his mouth move, because that was because we're in Gianni's perspective. So we're seeing what Gianni's seen. So I do feel like that's a tiny bit of a cheat, because and it isn't until he recalls it before he gets killed that you actually see Bertie saying it.
Interesting.
In the raspy voice.
And maybe it's because I've seen it so many times. But yeah, I mean, the first time I had no idea what the fuck was going on. I was like,
wait, did this guy kill any of these people?
Right.
Were these pictures planted? I don't know. Anything is possible if you put your mind to it. So
it's true.
When I watched this time, I went, oh my God, this movie is Scream. We have two killers. Phone calls with disguised voices. Gloved hands. The chase scenes. There is even a point with, Maria in this yellow top with this pink like mini skirt that's very Tatum coded. Even when I think Marianne dies and her head goes back, like it looks like Tatum getting crushed. To me, this time around, I started looking at it and I was like, and all about shaming women for their sexual proclivities.
Oh, yeah, that's true too. Huh.
They're all
Wow.
such, just like their mothers. So
Okay, well, Kevin Williamson, I guess you're a fan of this movie. I say as if Kevin Williamson listens to our podcast.
Thank you,
Hey, maybe
Kevin.
we'll cover Sick one day, and
Yeah.
he'll
you
listen. I do like that movie a lot.
I did like Sick, I will say as well.
Yeah, I
will
think we're in
say
the
as
minority
well-
there.
Yeah, it's fine. Good. This is where I like being. I welcome your hatred, as I proved last week. But yeah, watching it this time around, I didn't find anything online necessarily where I could see 100% like, oh yeah, we were heavily influenced by Tenebre that I know of. So if anyone does, I was just like, whoa, this is really interesting.
Yeah. I think one of the film's strengths is not only its self-reflective nature and
Metatextualness,
yeah, its metatextual aspects, but I think that Argento drawing inspiration from other filmmakers,
yes,
and in some cases even films that were inspired by his earlier work, I think that's part of what helps it really shine. You know, you take a musician like Gary Newman, who influenced a bunch of people to make like electronic, industrial rock, whatever. And then he heard that stuff, and then he started making music that sounded like the stuff that he had originally inspired. And a lot of it's really fucking good. So it's like, it creates this beautiful, positive feedback loop of artistic inspiration and creativity, and I think that really shines here. And I think Argento had also, like, you know, any artist learns and grows as they go along in their career, and I think this was him saying, like, you know, I've done a lot of gialli, and I did Suspiria, and Inferno was the year before this, right? Or 2 years before this.
It may have to do with something that we're going to play next, so I'm not going to entirely tell you.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that this is a wonderful culmination of all of these things, and Argento really put everything into this movie aside from the more fantastical elements that show up in Suspiria and Inferno. This is like the most pure, uncut giallo that exists. There's nothing superfluous or unnecessary. It's got such a great balance of humor and horror and mystery, and you like all the characters. Like, the characters who die, you don't want them to die. And you want this mystery to be solved. So I don't know. I think it's just really, truly excellent. But enough of me. Let's play a game.
Hello. You don't know me, but I know you. I want to play a game.
Okay, Caitlin, what's our game?
All right. As we have been going through our movie picks, we've come across quite a few banned or censored movies. So I decided to have a game called Banned!
With an exclamation point in all caps in our outline, by the way.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's so you know I'm serious.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we had spoken about the video nasties, Tenebre was not the only one of Argento's movies to appear on that list of 79, the DPP list. He appears 4 times on the list in 3 categories. Because remember, this is between so it's movies that were released between 1975 and 1982.
Okay.
I kind of already gave away a few.
Mm-hmm.
So, other than the obvious, what are the other 2 you think that made this list?
Wait, The obvious one being...
Okay, sorry. What other 3 films do you think made this list?
I mean, I'm trying to think of what he released in those years, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Deep Red, Suspiria, and Inferno.
Correct.
Okay.
Because I said Inferno earlier, and then I was like, wait, no, I gave that away. And I meant to be
not really. I happen to know his filmography very well.
Inferno came out in 1980.
Okay. So it was 2 years previous to this.
So Deep Red 75, Suspiria 77, Tenebre 82, and Inferno in 1980. Tenebre was the only film that was successfully prosecuted. So it made the final 39. It was originally passed with cuts for cinema and released with the 5-second cut in 1999. Then we have the dropped 33, so these were the unsuccessful, or they didn't think they could get prosecutions for them. And that was Inferno. Originally passed with cuts for cinema and was released with 20 seconds of cuts in 1993. 1993. Then we have Section 3. And these were the films, as I said earlier, that were not technically classified as video nasties. You could still be prosecuted, or they could still be seized. And that was Deep Red, which was passed with 11 seconds of cuts in 1993.
Interesting.
And Suspiria, 1977, which is passed. It just said passed with cuts for cinema. It didn't tell me how.
Didn't give you more details.
So here's my next question. With Suspiria, Inferno, Tenebre, Deep Red, put them in order from first to last of when they would have been released uncut in the UK. You don't have to know the years. Just uncut version on home video, which was the first one, through 4.
Oh, God. Wait, didn't you just tell me the dates?
No.
Oh, no, that was for cinema.
And with cuts. So these are the raw, hard, uncut versions.
Got it. I'm going to say, partially knowing its popularity, Suspiria came first.
Ding, 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 ding.
And then I'm going to guess Tenebre was last.
It was not.
Oh, okay. So Suspiria, let's say Inferno? No. Okay. Suspiria, Deep Red? Wow, Tenebre was second.
Second, 2003.
So Suspiria, Tenebre, Inferno, Deep Red.
Maybe they were both released in 2010.
Oh, okay. God damn it.
I was shocked as well because since Tenebre was on the successfully prosecuted that it was released uncut next. But not until 2003.
Wow. I did a very bad job at that game, by the way.
That was, I mean, hey, you nailed the first one. And no one would have thought. Who knew? Not us. All right. And here is a special video nasty question.
Okay.
Which 1978 picture, not directed by Argento, but he was heavily involved with, also made Section 3 of the DPP list? And it's a horror movie.
1978. Is it Italian? Oh. Argento involved in a 1978 non-Italian horror movie. I have no idea.
Dawn of the Dead.
Oh.
He produced it. He really supported Romero through the whole thing. He's like, let's get together and talk.
Is that why Goblin ended up doing the score?
Yes.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So Dawn of the Dead was originally passed with heavy cuts for cinema, passed with cuts for video in 1989 and 1997,
There are so many different cuts of that movie, and I'm pretty sure Maeve has
All of
like
them?
all of them across different formats. I've only ever seen the 3D version that they showed at the Music Box last year that Ken Foray was in attendance to introduce, and it was fucking awesome.
Yeah. Dawn of the Dead, it was not released uncut in the UK until 2003.
That is unconscionable. What the fuck? Censorship is so stupid. And it's... You know what? I'm not going to get into it. Anyway. Any final thoughts? Banned! Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I think said so much. So many
It's true.
things.
We did.
I guess the only thing I do appreciate in this movie in particular, and maybe it was due to some of the criticism, but Argento really does let women own a lot of their sexuality in this movie. A lot of them get murdered for it. But a lot of them get to also own their sexuality. Our original, definitely shot in Rhode Island. Suddenly Last Summer tribute. Elizabeth Taylor movie. It's Elizabeth Taylor, Katharine Hepburn, and Monty Cliff. Monty is right after Montgomery Cliff's car crash that almost killed him.
Oh, yeah.
And Elizabeth and Ms. Taylor was trying to get him back into movies and being like, get him work and everything because he wasn't feeling great about himself afterward. It is a Tennessee Williams play because the screenplay was written by Tennessee Williams and Gore Vidal. It's like 1959 Southern Gothic movie. I'm obsessed with Elizabeth Taylor, everyone, by the way. And the white swimsuit on the beach is directly referencing that movie. It's a wild one. That movie was wild. Katharine Hepburn is in it. If I didn't say that already, she plays an aunt who's trying to get Elizabeth Taylor lobotomized. It's because of, who maybe deviant, abhorrent, or aberrant sexual behaviors in some people's eyes.
Interesting.
It's definitely, obviously, heavily influenced, but like, I just love, we start out with Elsa, who's like, hey, if you want to fuck, we could fuck, and we could just let this all go, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that is her choice in that moment. When she does get assaulted later, almost immediately afterwards, I almost feel like it's talking about, like, that is not appropriate. Her being able to assert her sexuality the way she wants to, go. Yep. You attacking her? Absolutely not. Like, that is, I see the dichotomy there. I don't know if that was meant to be there, but I absolutely see it.
I feel like it was. Also, I just love that she kicks that guy in the balls, and then he immediately is like, you bitch, you hit me. It's like, dude, you tried to attack her. No, you did attack her.
And so much like Peter. He attacked her first.
Yep.
It was like, you bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. If young Peter had walked up and been like, hey, can I be part of this gangbang? I'm sure it wouldn't have been a problem. But he walked up and slapped her because, of course, I'm assuming his Catholic upbringing was like, this is wrong. This is bad. And it's like, girl was just trying to have an orgy. Like,
right?
Come on, man.
Everyone looked like they were in it for a good time except you. So
yeah, exactly.
Leave. You know what's wild? You don't actually have to be here.
That's true.
You don't have to watch this. You could just go.
Well, speaking of going, and I've already said enough about this movie. I fucking love it, obviously.
We have sex workers and lesbians.
Yeah. This movie has everything. But let's wrap up with what awaits us next time.
Don't you see? He's got us now. Okay, this is exactly what he wants. We can't go to the police. Not now. He's made sure of that. He's just out there and he's watching us and waiting. What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
That brings us to the end of our episode. Thanks so much for joining us on this journey, fellow travelers. If you like what you hear, please leave us a rating and review wherever you can, because it helps more people find the show, and it makes us all tingly inside. You can find us on Instagram at Pleasers and Punishers, and on Blue Sky at Pleasers Punishers. You can also email us at pleaserspunisherspodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at Everson Poe. You can find my music on Ampwall, Bandcamp, and streaming services as Everson Poe, 2 separate words. And you can hear me podcasting on Tender Subject and Slayerfest 98. Caitlin, what about you?
I can be found at Caitlin of the North on Blue Sky and Instagram, and I guess Threads. I don't fucking know how any of this works. I hate it here.
Don't use Threads.
And Cat of the North on Letterboxd.
And next week's episode will continue our foray into Giallo January with The Red Queen Kills 7 Times.
I'm excited. I haven't seen this one before.
I know. I am so excited for you to watch this. Another excellent mystery that will keep you guessing. So until then, do some aftercare, clean your toys, set healthy boundaries, and those dykes just want your balls because they haven't got their own.